did it. We did it. We completed the sweep this week, but it wasn't easy. It was by the skin of my teeth that we completed the sweep. In one league, it was by one block, and there were a ton of trades. I made a lot of trades this week. I think I had 3 trades this week for you to review. So without further ado, haha, look at that. I am feeling it today. Woo! I like the feel of the sweep jacket. Let's jump into our first league here and review how the week went. I'm in a few trade negotiations. I can't talk about them just yet, but I do have a few talks out there of potential moves that I'm thinking of making. So we'll see if those materialize. For this week, I made a few moves. Let's see just for this upcoming week. This upcoming week, I'm playing Hockrus, who's in 5th place. I think I can beat them somewhat handily. We are tied for games played, so similar games played, 46-46. So we'll see how it goes. They have pretty good goaltending. I like my goaltenders matchups this week. Markstrom is going to get one of Anaheim or LA. Grubauer is going to get Anaheim, Florida, and Dallas. Florida, I may bench him against, although we'll see, because then he gets Dallas. And Dallas should be relatively easy, so we'll see how that goes. But then looking at my ads for the week really quick here. Let's go down here. So ads that I made for this week. So one thing I'm doing is I'm kind of planning on not necessarily... I didn't want to outstart this week for the sake of outstarting. I more so wanted to plan for future matchups, especially that cushion that I have in first place. I kind of want to grab the best players on the wire possible and still have decent starts. And this week I'm tied in starts, which is good. But I picked up Joel Armia. I think he could be a pretty good long-term ad. He's crushing it. I really like his deployment. And more than anything, I like his peripherals as well. Lots of shots, lots of hits. It's exactly what you want in a league like this. And then I also picked up Radko Gudas. He's jumped up in the ranks. A large part of that is because he's getting some PIMs. But more than anything, he's hitting and blocking again. And because of his off nights, I actually drafted him in the 15th round, and I dropped him. And now I'm picking him back up, and I'm hoping I can actually keep him long-term, because he could be a pretty good asset for me going forward if he continues to hit and block, given his off nights, and I can use him a lot. And then Nikita Zaitsev was dropped, Milan Lucic was dropped. So really, I think Lucic I was going to keep, but I like if I could get Gudas, which I did, right? Gudas hits more. Doesn't have as many games, but he just is a better long-term candidate in terms of hits and blocks. And then for Zaitsev, and then also if Joel Armia is hitting, I don't really necessarily need Lucic as much. So my plan was to get one of Armia or Drouin. I think I had a bid in for Drouin if I didn't get Armia. And then also pick up Radko Gudas for Milan Lucic. So I feel good about this team. This team I think is extremely competitive, and there's a few moves I have on the table to potentially make. And that was without Carlson going absolute god mode this week. So everyone is doing well. Anders Lee finally picked it up, so we'll see what Anders Lee does. The shots are still very concerning. The fact that he's just not shooting as much in games is just it's making me close to dropping him, but I just don't think he's worth dropping just yet. And if we look at team stats now really quick, how are we doing for the week? First in goals, down there in assists still, but I'm not terribly off from this top of assists, right? And then we look at PIMs, middle of the pack in PIMs, so it's kind of hit or miss whether I'll win PIMs. I should beat Hockrus, who's right here. This is who I'm playing. Power play points up there, lost the top spot, but that's okay. Still super competitive there. Shots on goal, right up there. Hits, not fantastic. I'm never going to catch Brandon in hits, so I shouldn't really chase it. There's some guys here who I'll never catch in hits, so I shouldn't chase it. But if I get, a guy like Armia, who is a kind of multi-cat threat, and then you look at a guy like Radko Gudas who'll get me some hits, then I think I can be super competitive there. And then in blocks, I'm really close to the top. And I think if you look at just these past 2 weeks, I probably am at the top of hits, or blocks, I mean. So I feel really good about where I'm at in blocks. I think they are over-indexed from that first week, and I think that right now, with the way my team stands, and especially if I can eventually grab a Zaitsev, for example, again, I can be at the top of blocks by the end of the season. So I feel good about that. And then if we look at goaltenders, not great. I'm good in wins, actually, doing well there because of Grubauer more than anything. It's really my save percentage and goals against that is just very average / subpar. So that's what has to get better there. Okay, things going well here for us in Hockrus. Now, the goaltending is a big thing for me. That I haven't had a goaltending start yet, but the fact that Ben Bishop kind of played awful, It was huge for me. That's a really big deal that Ben Bishop had a bad game. He had been playing really, really well before that, and so I got really lucky there that he got pulled, which is good for me. Tuukka Rask, of course, had a big game, but I kind of expected that. The good thing is I get to counter that with Markstrom at Los Angeles, and then Grubauer versus Florida. I'm a little worried about this Florida matchup. Last time he played Florida, he got lit up. That was away, though, not at home. And he did just come off a great game against Vegas, so I'm feeling fine there. John Carlson continues to do the stupid stuff he's doing. Vander Kane got me 12 PIMs. He's currently 12th overall in the league after missing the first 2 games. So, yeah, I'm glad I got him where I did. Where did I even get him? Let's see. 3rd round. Oh, yeah, that is great value for him. Jeff Skinner's doing really well, actually. Blake Wheeler finally scored. Svechnikov continues to score. So far, so good. I think I can sweep this week, potentially. I could see myself sweeping if, let's say, Bishop or Gibson have a bad game again. I could feel good if my goaltenders do well. I feel pretty good and confident in terms of skater stats. Assists are where, just in general, I am lacking on a whole at the moment in this league. But for the most part, I feel pretty good about it. So we're up in Hockrus 5-3. This is day 5, Friday morning. There's a few things I wanted to talk about. So one, we're doing pretty well, 5-3. Close in assists. I'm kind of pulling away in goals. It's 2, but I think given the guys I have, and I'll talk about pickups that I just made in a second, I think I'm doing pretty well there. When you look at PIMs, I'm up in PIMs, and I've got good PIM guys coming. Power play points are solid. Shots are close. Hits, I'm kind of taking away in. Blocks are what's really, really close, and I'm not sure I'm going to win that now anymore. Now, goaltending is still completely up in the air, in my opinion. I still have a lot of guys going. I've got Markstrom, I've got Grubauer, and I will get at least 1 Markstrom game. Bishop is playing Colorado. Gibson is playing Vancouver. So our goaltenders might be playing there. We'll see what happens. I feel good so far. 24-23 remaining, so I've got more starts on a whole than them, so feeling good on that. Now, we did make quite a few moves here. Now, one big thing did happen. Okay, so the Land Before Petey's made a few moves. Dubnyk was back, and to make a move, I needed to drop Anders Lee. So I dropped Anders Lee, who, while doing stuff right now, again, the shots are what I said. If the shots don't come up consistently, I'm dropping him. So I stuck by that, and I dropped him because his shots 0 and 1, even though he got a goal and assist. It's like, come on, what doesn't matter to me there. So I dropped Anders Lee, and that allowed me to make my next move, which was that Kyle Palmieri got dropped, which to me is fantastic because I replaced a guy like Anders Lee who wasn't doing much and wasn't shooting with a guy who's like Anders Lee with more upside and shoots a ton. So the fact that Kyle Palmieri shoots so much makes me extremely happy, and I had Palmieri last year and was thrilled to own him. He's also one of those guys that I could drop later, and I won't really worry about it because I grabbed him off of waivers. So he was drafted in the 11th round. I was able to add him from waivers with 0 free agent acquisition budget. So that's a big move. And then today I made a trade. Second trade of the year. I don't know why I did this. This is 4-2. Second trade. Matthew Barzal for Radko Gudas. Now, on just saying it, it doesn't sound like it's fair. It doesn't sound like it's even. But let me give you the situation here. So, Mac Attack, who I traded with, actually picked up Alexander Radulov because Radulov was dropped. Now, the funny thing here is that he was actually afraid that I would outbid him. So he used almost all his free agent acquisition budget on Radulov. And so now he was kind of in a pickle where he couldn't pick people up and he had some injury issues. And he also had Dustin Byfuglien. And with Byfuglien now having that ankle injury, he didn't know what was going to happen. And so he had reached out to me about a trade like a week and a half ago. And we had talked through a lot of different options. I'm not going to put the options out there so that in case he's talking about other ones, he may, I don't want to ruin other kind of trade negotiations that he's having, but he needed more than anything peripherals in this instance. And so I had kind of given him a list of players I liked. Barzal was on it. Came to me today with pretty much Barzal for Gudas. If I was down for it, he was down for it. And yeah, so it happened. My take on this is that Gudas is somewhat replaceable for me, given that I have Kane, I have Malkin, I have Wheeler, so I have guys that hit quite a bit. So really all I'm looking for is like block specialists at this point still. Gudas is nice. The thing I'll miss about Gudas is the off nights, but I think I can replace what Gudas gave me on any given week, whereas Barzal actually gives me a lot more upside, especially in my weakest position, which is assists. Assists are my weakest position, and so, sorry, Bandit apparently is very excited about the trade. Bandit, So Barzell gives me strength in one of my weakest places, which is assists. Over time, I think he should get more assists. Right now, he's actually a little bit over-indexed in goals. His shooting percentage is pretty high at around like 17%. So I would like to see the assists come up and the power play points eventually come up. So we'll see. I think there's just more upside in Barzell, and he gives me something that I'm missing. And it's a guy that I'm definitely not going to get on waivers, right? If I were to drop Gudas to try to fix this issue of assists, not issue, but just in a situation in which I'm lower in assists, if I were to drop Gudas for that, I'm never going to get a Barzell type of upside. So I was like, whatever, I'll sacrifice Gudas for the sake of getting more upside there and potentially getting better assists. Okay, day 6 here in Hockrus, Saturday morning. Looking good, 6-4 up. Blocks are very contentious at the moment, 26-29. I made one trade with Brandon, actually. So I made the Barzell trade, and I picked up Palmieri yesterday. And I made a trade with Brandon, which sent Svechnikov to him and got me Timo Meier. Now, on one hand, I could easily lose that trade. Very, very easily lose that. I know that going into that trade. But there's a few reasons I did it. One, Timo Meier's numbers are very, very unsustainable. His on-ice shooting percentage is only 4%. He shoots like a madman and is shooting at 5% only. I don't hate his line. He's currently playing that top line. He's still getting good deployment, still shooting a lot. He's hitting more than last year, blocking more than last year, which of course the blocks don't matter too much, but it's still a little bit more. He's shooting just about the same as last year, almost the same as Svechnikov as well. And Svechnikov was having very unsustainable shooting percentages at almost like 20%. His on-ice shooting percentage was like 15%. So it was just kind of one of those things where I think rest of season, Timo Meier gets more points. I think at the end of the season, maybe Svech ends up higher ranked. But from an actual contribution standpoint, I think Timo Meier by the end, like rest of season for me, will give me more points. And I think he turns it around at some point. I think what I give up is power play points. But the reason that I'm not too worried about that is in getting Kyle Palmieri off waivers and getting Matt Barzell in a trade, I think I kind of make up that difference. I didn't expect to have Barzell and Palmieri on my team. Barzell is on fire from a points perspective. I would love to see those power points come up a little bit. They haven't. And then Kyle Palmieri, of course, is Kyle Palmieri. And he's been pretty damn good recently. So I'm feeling good about getting Timo Meier. I just feel like it's an upside trade with a lot of peripherals that will give me a little bit more safety in the playoffs. And worst case scenario, he doesn't pan out, and that's fine. Like I said, I didn't expect to have Barzell and Kyle Palmieri. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to take a risk on Timo Meier and get a guy that I think rest of season should be really good when he figures it out. It could, like I said, not work out, but I'm fine to take that risk. As far as the matchup goes, I think I should be okay. I actually have 2 less starts than them. But I'm up in the things that require starts, so shots on goal, hits, and whatnot. Points are actually good. The thing that I'm completely tanking in is goals against and save percentage. They have Tuukka Rask and Ben Bishop going, so I don't expect to win goaltending. I could potentially, but I don't see it happening. I can't catch in wins. No, I can't catch in wins. I could tie in wins if both Bishop and Rask lose, but I don't really see that happening at the moment. So they'll probably take at least wins, and then they'd really need a tank for goals against average and save percentage. But I thought it wouldn't happen last week, and it did. So who knows? Maybe I get lucky. Hello, folks. Checking in with you Monday morning now. Didn't do an update for Sunday because there was only 2 games. Really, there wasn't much to discuss there. I ended up not coming back in blocks. What I did do was actually I picked up Corbinian and Holzer for Sunday to try to chase blocks, and he got scratched. So there you go. Great. I ended up dropping actually Victor Olofsson. Finally let go of Victor Olofsson. It's so time. He's doing nothing at 5-on-5, and that's what I've always said was worrying about me. So that's it. I let go of Olofsson to pick up Holzer. He got scratched. Great. If we look forward at this week, so I'm in first place, a pretty somewhat commanding lead. I'm feeling good. I'm playing against a 10th place person. Another kind of easy matchup for me to get going still. My team is finally healthy. Malkin is back. I ended up, like I said, in the previous videos, we now have Palmieri, we now have Matthew Barzell, and the one move I did to prep for this week was I added Jake DeBrusk for the week because he has all the off nights. I didn't really need the off nights, but I just liked the fact that he had 4+ off nights in case I make any other moves. So I picked up Jake DeBrusque and dropped Corbinian Holzer, which should give me a little bit of an advantage. I am slightly tied on games played, 51 to 52. So that's kind of a big deal. I would like to try to make some kind of goaltender move this week, I think, whether it's a drop or a trade or something like that. I think that's kind of one of the things that I'm eyeing for this week. But I think I should be in a good spot. If we take a look at this team that I'm about to play and we take a look at totals here, this is big Willie style. I should be totally fine in goals. It's going to be tough to beat them in assists. They're top in the league in assists, so I think I'll take goals. They'll take assists. That's fine. From a PIMS perspective, I'm doing really well. They're towards the bottom in PIMS, so I should take PIMS as well. Power play points is going to be really contested, actually. I'm kind of falling a little bit behind in power play points, but I did get Malkin back, which is a huge thing, so that should help quite a bit. Shots on goal, should have them there. Should have them in hits as well. They're last in the league in hits. I'm towards the top and last by a lot. And they're pretty much the bottom of blocks too. So I think I should take this week pretty easily. And then if we look at their goaltending, they have Hellebuck and Holtby. So goaltending may actually be a little bit tough given how Holtby and Hellebuck have been playing. But I do like actually Grubauer, Dubnyk, and Markstrom's matchups this week. So we should see. It should be pretty close, I think. Man, it felt good to get that victory. It's insane how good Hockey's goaltenders were. It was absolutely ridiculous. There was nothing I could do. Absolutely nothing. And I'm okay with that. I can live with stuff like that. So let's move over now to return to the backups and see how I did in the points league. Looking at this upcoming week, it shouldn't, I mean, I'm playing the last place team, so it should kind of boost the confidence a little bit of my team. Should help them quite a bit playing last place. But again, this is, last week as well, I was projected by quite a bit at the beginning and tanked it completely. So we'll see what happens. I do outstart them right now. I'm not sure if they've set lines. Let's see. It doesn't look like they've set lines. Although, to be honest, there aren't that many games this week, so there's not really much line setting to be done. I guess they have, 2 start. They have 1 start here from Scheifele that they could put in. Although, no, this is bench, so maybe they have set their lines here. So this may be 39 to 32, which is net good for me. But of course, let's see what my goaltenders do. I picked up Neil Pionk and dropped Dustin Brown. So Dustin Brown just was getting benched a lot because of that right wing slot being full with Atkinson and Pasternak, and then also having Meyer and Olofsson be left wing, right wing. And so I dropped Brown because he just wasn't doing as much. And I already have Kopitar, so I'll get the benefit from that line with Kopitar. And Neil Pionk is currently playing top power play, so I might as well pick this up while I can in a points league like this. Neil Pionk could be really valuable. So we'll see what happens. We'll see when Dubnyk comes back. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting week. I really want to crush this guy this week because I need to win. I need a win. Wednesday afternoon here. This is for return to the backups. We're looking fine. I mean, the crappy thing is look at this difference in projection that's happened. My team's kind of fallen off a cliff. I've had quite a few games played now, and my team really hasn't done anything. One of the lovely things was that I didn't even play Bobrovsky, and he got me -3. So that was fun. That was nice. So Bobrovsky's continuing to do his thing. So we'll go over what I'm doing for today, which is not necessarily a heavy day, but we'll talk about exactly kind of what's happening. But yesterday, you can see, didn't really do much. I got a goal out of Pasternak, got an assist from Dougie Hamilton. Dougie Hamilton continues to crush. Kyle O'Connor got me 9 shots on goal. Neil Pionk didn't do much for me. So just a lot of guys not doing anything. And they luckily had 1 Hart game, and it was 1 goal against on 8 saves. So there's still, I'm still in it. I'm still higher projected than them. We're both kind of tanking our projections, which is nice. I have way more games remaining than they do. But a lot of that does come down to they need to set lines. So like Bo Horvat right now is on the bench, for example. So will they set lines? I don't know. I am playing the 12th place team. So there's potential that they don't set lines, which would be nice for me. But I also don't like winning like that. So I kind of hope that they do set their lines. Okay, and then if we take a look at my team today, I do have to make 2 decisions actually. So the first one is goaltending. All of them are playing. I'm playing Markstrom no matter what. It's at LA. LA should be an easy matchup for him. I think they're going to do well there. He should start. I'm feeling good about playing Jacob Markstrom. Much better. Even with how he did last time, I still feel good about playing him. Carey Price is another one. I'm going to play him. He had a great game against Toronto. Arizona has looked really good, but I still think they don't score that many goals in general. So I feel good about playing them there. And honestly, I just have to bench Bob, especially against Colorado. I mean, I've contemplated this because the thing is Colorado doesn't have Rotten or Landeskog, so they're much less dangerous. But I mean, God, Bob hasn't had a good game in ages. So there's this one, and then other than that, it's like every game has been bad. So I would rather take these two guys here and let Bob sit on the bench and see what happens. Now on skaters, I need to bench Kopitar. I had to make a decision on centers. I had Barkov, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Andrei Kopitar all going. I decided to bench Kopi because he just hasn't been as good. If we take a look at his average stats over the last 7 days, both of them edge him out by quite a bit. He's only gotten a point in the last 7 days, and if we go back to the last 14 days, even 2-2-1, and Pierre-Luc Dubois is 2-4-4. Pierre-Luc Dubois has been incredible, and he's on a little bit of a streak here, and I think he can kind of keep up, especially against Edmonton. Edmonton has actually had some trouble keeping the puck out of the back of the net, whereas for Kopitar, right now, the Vancouver Canucks are 4th best in goals against average. So the chance of them scoring on the Canucks are probably pretty low. Okay, so return to the backups. It's close. I am just not close to my projection at all. It's been disappointing to say the least. I am outstarting them at the moment, but, well, we'll see how that goes. So right now I have Chabot on day-to-day, so he's on IR+, and I just activated Dubnyk. I haven't made any moves. I just put Dubnyk on IR+, and put Dubnyk as active. Now, they have Carter Hart going against New Jersey, which is a little bit worrying, given that, New Jersey is not exactly great, but they have been scoring goals, and Carter Hart hasn't been good, so we'll see what happens there. And then they have Crawford, who will get a game as well, so really they're only going to get 2 goalie games here, which is huge for me because I'm going to get quite a few goalie games. I'm going to get at least 1 Markstrom game. I'm going to get at least 1 Dubnyk game. Most likely, I'm going to get at least a Bob game, I believe, here, because he did get the win against Colorado, which, of course, I benched him for. And then I'm going to get a Markstrom game too, and a Price game. So I'm going to get a lot of goaltending games here, which is going to be good for me. And so I don't really have too many hard decisions to make. I'm benching Olofsson today, although I'm debating playing him instead of Timo Meier. I just don't like benching Timo Meier. I don't know why. It's just Olofsson has been getting a point every other game, and so that would mean he's due for this one. I'm just going to play Timo Meier, though, and hope for the upside. His floor isn't awful at like almost 1 point, kind of. He is back on the top line, so as long as he's back on the top line, he's worth a gamble up there. Neil Pionk hasn't really done much for me since I picked him up right here. He's only had 1 game, but still. So we'll see what happens. Tomorrow, I think I have a little bit of I have some decisions to make here, so it might be worth actually dropping like a Jaden Schwartz or something. So we'll have to pay attention to what happens here tomorrow, but we'll update on that later. So from a points perspective, I'm fine here at 79.5 to their 71.13. It's going to come down to goaltenders for me, because if they tank me, then my projection is going to fall, and those starts aren't going to really matter for much. So really, it comes down to my goaltenders doing something. I just don't want them to get negative. I don't even care if they don't get wins. It's really just about getting any points at all for my goaltenders, and I think I'll be fine in that situation. Day 6 here for return of the backups, doing well, close to my projection actually for once, which is really, really nice to see. Up to 88.5 in projection to their 61. Now, I'm not sure they're even setting lines, to be honest. Like, Scheifele's on the bench, Horvat's on the bench, Malkin is still on IR. So I don't think I'm too worried about this one. Like, it'd be very, very sad if I lost this. Now, they're not getting a Hart game. Crawford doesn't seem to be playing, but they have a back-to-back, so he's going to get at least 1 more Crawford game. I have Bobrovsky and Price going. I need to decide whether I want to play Bob or Dubnyk. I'm going to go Bob, though, I think, simply because it's versus Detroit. I mean, how can he mess up a Detroit game, right? Right. Yeah, he can't mess that up, I think. We'll see. He's surprised me a lot this season so far. Dubnyk versus St. Louis, I don't hate it, but I just think there's more upside with Bobrovsky in today's game, given it's against Detroit. And he actually had a pretty good game against Colorado, so I think he can bounce back here against Detroit and kind of refine his form. I haven't made any moves. It's still the same as last time. I have to make some decisions today on who to start. So if we take a look at who I benched Olofsson. He honestly hasn't done much. His minutes are down quite a bit. And again, like I said at the beginning of the season, my big issue with both Buffalo and Olofsson as well was that unless they do things at 5-on-5, I'm just getting less and less interested. And it seems to be that way so far with Olofsson. It seems like he just does not produce at 5-on-5 so far. And honestly, that's not entirely his fault. A lot of that lies on Buffalo itself, who is not producing a 5-on-5. So Olofsson may be on the choppy block at some point. Now, Timo Meier is going to be benched solely because I need points. I'm already up, so I'm going to take upside guys. Timo Meier, to me, is not an upside guy in a back-to-back. He shoots a lot, which gives him that nice kind of almost a point floor, but over who, I like Atkinson today. I like Jaden Schwartz today for points just because he's been so consistent with assists. So I'm going to bench him. And then Pierre-Luc Dubois is the really tough one because Alexander Barkov, I'm obviously going to play versus Detroit. He's been phenomenal. And then you have Andrei Kopitar, who's actually been pretty good as well. And he plays Chicago, who isn't exactly the greatest team. So I think that I'm going to keep Kopi in and leave Pierre-Luc Dubois out simply because he's playing against Calgary. He did have a goal and assist against... He's on a 5-game point streak, which is what makes this so tough. So we'll see. Right now, I'm leaning Kopitar just because of the matchup at home versus Chicago. But Pierre-Luc Dubois has been absolutely on fire. So I may play Dubois over him, but I don't think so. Points League victory! Yes, we outdid our projection. Finally, first time of the whole year that I actually outdo my projection. It's incredible. So I got 98.8 to their 66. They didn't start a few players. Like there were some days that they benched Scheifele and Horvat. So I got a little bit lucky in that regard. But at the end of the day, a big thing came down to goaltenders. Their goaltenders didn't get many games, and that hurt them. Whereas I ended up getting a shutout from Bobrovsky. He's back. I've said this before. Bobrovsky's back. This is the November of Bob. As we said on the week preview, this is the November of Bob. Had a huge game from Carey Price. Few games, honestly. Carey Price is doing really well. Markstrom had 2 decent games. Not fantastic games, but decent enough. I ended up dropping Victor Olofsson, actually, to activate Thomas Chabot because I needed to bring Chabot back from IR+. And so I dropped Olofsson. Like I've said before, it's time. It's not worth it. He's not doing anything 5-on-5. He's not really getting me any peripherals anymore. He's off the top line, so just not huge on it. So let's take a look at this week. I'm projected to win. We've been here before. I'm in 6th place. This is the 7th place team. It should be pretty contested. They have some good players. I may drop Pionk for Boquist. I think that's one thing I'm eyeing for this week because I do need a defender if I don't want Pionk. But Pionk's playing some good minutes, so I'm going to pay attention to see what he does, see what Boquist does. If Boquist gets top power play, I will most likely drop Neil Pionk for Adam Boquist. I'm good with my goaltenders. I'm feeling good about how they're doing. Dubnyk, even though he got negative, he is playing far, far better, and a lot of the goals that are going on him are not entirely his fault. A lot of it does have to do with the defense. We're pretty even games played here, so I feel good about where I'm at. I feel good about the team. I think one issue that I continue to run into with this team is I have to keep benching centers. That's my problem. And so I think I may look at doing some kind of, I'll see if I can, but I may try to do some kind of like, Pierre-Luc Dubois or Atkinson thing for a defenseman or something like that. Like maybe I target a Klingberg or someone like that. I mean, Klingberg last year wasn't even that good. So I may try to aim a little higher and see what happens, but I think I may try to target a defenseman here and see what happens. And hopefully I can get someone good. But feel good about this week. I think it's going to be, just like every other week, I'm going to be scratching for points at the very end, and it'll be close the entire way through. I think I've had maybe my easiest matchup of the year so far already. So we'll see how it goes. Good victory in the points league. Honestly, pretty easy considering that some lineups and rosters weren't set. It was a pretty easy win. I'll take that. I need a confidence boost in that league, and I'm coming back into this week strong. Being higher projected than the other person makes me feel good. So now it's time for the Keeper League, where there was another trade, and let's see what happened there. So if we look at my team today, one of the move I made today was to pick up Joel Armia. So I grabbed Joel Armia to make sure that I had him for the week, and like I've said before, I think he may be a long-term candidate. So that's more than anything why I like him. And then if we let's set the rosters here. Although I do have one empty roster spot, so remember that when we look right here at so it's 44 to 37 at the moment, but I don't think they've set lines. Now if they have, then we'd be in a good spot, but I don't think they have. Let's look at Saturday. That's the telling one. Okay, so they may have set lines, so this may not be much of a matchup if it actually stays like that. So we'll see what happens, I suppose. I need to pick up a defender. I'm not really sure who I'll go with. I've been eyeing Ronick. If the starts really are this wide, I may just go Zaitsev and hold on to him for later because he's valuable. I really like what Zaitsev brings to the table. But I think Ronick, if he's playing top power play, is who I want, and especially if he's playing 27 minutes a game. So we'll have to see if that actually sticks. If it does, then I'll be grabbing Ronick for my last defensive spot here, and hopefully Zibanejad isn't out long term, because that would not be great. Although this makes me very, very happy that I picked up Jack Hughes, because the fact that I picked up Jack Hughes means I now have a center and a high upside center at bat. So we'll see what goes there. But I feel good about this week. I'm not worried about this league. I moved down to third place, but it's okay. I'm still right up there. I'm pretty competitive. I'm close to second, close to first. It's competitive down the board, to be honest. Like, I think maybe eighth right now is the most competitive, and then 9 through 12 have some work to do. But for the most part, I feel pretty good about where I'm sitting at the moment in my league, or in this league rather. So I should be good this week. I have to make a few moves this week, I think, but it should be good. So day 3 here on ECFHL, and it's pretty contested right now, to be honest. It's all really, really close. I have 36 games remaining to their 28, though, so that's huge. That's a really big deal. Now, granted, a lot of that is going to come from my goaltending, because I just have so many goaltenders, but they have 4 goaltenders. So really, their numbers are actually more inflated than mine are at the moment in terms of starts, because they have so many goaltenders. So I actually have a lot of skaters going over them. So I feel comfortable I can catch these kind of goal and assists categories, and even power play points is still close. And I've only had 11 people go. They've had 14. So the fact that it's still this close when I have more starts is really, really encouraging. Blocks, I'm a little bit behind in, but honestly, my big block guys haven't really had too many games. They're big block guys here with Sergachev, who had a game yesterday. And so the fact that I'm going to get some more Chernak games out of him, I think this is the last one I'll get. I'll get one more, I think, out of Chernak. So I'll have another Chernak game, which is going to be really nice. Brent Burns continues to be a beast. I finally get to see what Jack Hughes can do today. Because remember, I picked him up and no one else bid. So I'm not making any moves. I feel good about where I'm at. I don't really need to make any decisions right now, so I'm just going to see how this Wednesday goes for me. So in ECFHL, we're down 5-3 at the moment. Day 5, Friday morning. Down in assists, tied in power play points. Still close in shots, I'd say, 20, because it's 26-18 here on starts. Because I'm so high in starts here, there's a good chance that I can still catch in shots here, and in blocks as well, just from a volume perspective, because those are volume stats, right? If you have more guys going than the other person, it just usually works out where you'll win those stats. So I'm not too worried about where I'm at in shots on goal and blocks. I feel good. I have goalies going too, so I think I can catch I think I'll be fine in saves. I think I can catch in save percentage if I have good nights. I don't really trust Bob, and he's gonna have to play here probably against Detroit. They've also got Carey Price going, who's gonna play, I think, against Dallas. So I'm still fine, I think, and Halak hasn't been as great, so we'll see if he gets a start. I don't think he will, given the schedule for them. But I feel good where I'm at. I think that the guys I have going are good. Now, a few things that needed to happen here. So the first thing I did was, I think I had talked about this, but if not, I picked up Ronick, because I had an empty spot with Mika Zibanejad getting injured, so I picked up Ronick. Got me a goal and 4 shots. He seems to be taking over that top power play and getting way more minutes. It jumped up 27-26, so for now I'm going to hold, because I think he's a pretty good upside candidate, especially on defense. Kind of a much better Justin Schultz almost is the way I see him as. And then the other guy I picked up for just an upside, honestly, it was just, so Chernak got injured. I had an empty spot, and I picked up Adam Boquist. I thought, why not? I mean, it's an upside play where if he can turn into a Gustafson, take over that top power play with Patty Kane, he could be a huge ad for me, especially on the point side, because I'm pretty fine on the peripheral side at the moment. It's really the point side where I'm kind of lacking a little bit, just because some guys are underperforming, to be honest, like Patrick Kane. And so because of that, Adam Boquist, I think, is just a good upside guy that I don't care if I have to drop later, but I wouldn't want to miss out on him. And so I'd rather just use the spot on someone who may not do anything for me, but just gives me a lot of upside in that I'm getting in on him before anybody else in a keeper league. Okay, so day 6 of the Keeper League, it is pretty close. It's 4-4 at the moment. We're actually now tied in starts, which is, I have one more start than them, which is not fantastic. It's not not completely ideal, to be honest. I would have liked to have more starts than what I have now, especially given how far away I am in shots on goal. So at this point, I think I'm pretty much dead in the water when it comes to shots on goal. I can still catch in goals, I think, if I have a big day. I have the right people going. I mean, I have Brady Tkachuk, I've got Patty Kane, I've got Pierre-Luc Dubois, I've got Connor McDavid, Brent Burns, Hamilton, even Ronick. I've got Kopitar. I've got guys going that can get me goals, right? So I'm not terribly worried about that, but they have guys as well who can get goals in Aho, Draisaitl, Hoffman, Neal, Gensel. So it's going to be tough to do there. I don't have any goaltenders going, so they're going to get a Price and Bob game here. So my hope is that Bob or Price tank so that I can take save percentage. I'm not going to take wins, but I think I can still, I think I'll still take saves most likely. So saves is the one thing that I'm eyeing to be able to keep a hold of, and then blocks is that one that I need to come back and win on. And power play points are still really close at 9-8, so I could very well lose this matchup. Not super thrilled with it and how my team has done so far this week, but there is hope. And so far, and big thing in this league, I made a trade. So here's the trade down here. I traded for Bo Horvat and Timo Meier, and I traded away Dustin Brown, Jacob Markstrom. Now, the way I see it is my goaltending is pretty solid already in Vasilevsky and Hellebuck. I also have too many centers now, so I could move a center for a goaltender now, one of the kind of bums. I could trade him from, for example, Martin Jones and just kind of leave him on the bench and see what happens. That could be an option if the owner is willing to move him. There's also goaltenders on the wire I can stream if need be. But the way I see it is Markstrom is good. So it's like Markstrom for Timo Meier in a way is what I'm seeing. And that's relatively even. I think that Markstrom has been pretty good. He's 84th in the league. He had a great game yesterday. His save percentage is a 917, which is solid on a team that's 4th in goals against average. So he's fine. And then to me, Timo Meier just has a ton of upside. He has the left wing, right wing. And again, I think I'm just buying a little bit low on Timo Meier. And then when it comes to the Bo Horvat and Dustin Brown move, well, Dustin Brown, honestly, I was very close to dropping. I was getting close to dropping him. And so to me, Bo Horvat is someone that I really, really like, has a ton of upside for the rest of the season, gets you power play points, has point upside, is playing tons of minutes. And even though I put him on unsustainably low at one point, now I have him as sustainably high. And so to me, that was the big needle mover, was the fact that they threw in Bo Horvat. And honestly, they just sent this to me. I kind of floated out, hey, Markstrom might be on the table if you're interested. And they sent me this. And I was like, okay, yeah, this works. This is good for me. Because Bo Horvat versus Dustin Brown is a really big gap. And then Timo Meier, and I think the way they were seeing it, actually, which is funny, because if you look at the ranks, the way I think they were seeing it was Bo Horvat is equal to Markstrom and Timo Meier is equal to Dustin Brown. Whereas I see it the other way. I'm comparing Bo Horvat to Dustin Brown and Timo Meier to Markstrom from a potential standpoint. So worked out for me. I'll take it. Leaves me in a little bit of a pickle for today. I need to bench, and I'm going to be benching Armia, Olofsson, Hughes, and Voracek. I'm benching Voracek simply because I need to catch in shots, and Timo Meier shoots more. So because he shoots more, that's the only reason. It's just because I need shots. Oh, by the skin of our teeth did we win this one. Oh, 5-4, and it all came down to blocks. I won it by 1, and it happened on Saturday. I won with 1 block on Saturday, and they didn't have anybody going Sunday, so I got lucky there. And on top of that, I won hits by only 2. I almost came back in goals, which made me feel good, and I crushed an assist, which was awesome. And that trade for Bo Horvat helped me out a lot. I got 2 assists from Bo Horvat, so he did really well. Timo Meier didn't really... Timo Meier. Killing me, man. But he did get 4 shots and 2 hits. So in a way, you could look at it as the 2 hits from Timo Meier won me the week. That's another way to look at it, I suppose. So he did well, and I think Horvat got me some blocks. He did. Horvat got me 3 blocks. So really, that trade helped me out a ton on Saturday, and I ended up playing them. So that ended up being the difference maker, it seems. So this league doing well. I'm in 3rd place at the moment. This week, actually, I'm playing the 2nd place team. So this is going to be a really, really good matchup. It's 2 very good opponents, 2 very good teams. I think it's going to be extremely close. Ovi's Endless Bender just came off an 8-1-0 victory. And they're not going to be easy. This is not going to be an easy matchup. If we take a look at their team, Giroux, I do have Voracek at least to kind of counter that, but Ovechkin, who doesn't have a great matchup this week, which is good for me, and I'm currently killing them on starts, 59 to 51, although this may have to do... No, they've set lineups, so a big issue is just that they have Rantanen out, which helps me quite a bit, and Trocheck. So there's a chance. I think I can take this. This would be a massive win for me this week. They have Riddick, Leonard, and Thomas Greiss, so I should be able to get some games, I think, in here and potentially win, which would be a huge victory for me over the second-place team. It could launch me into second if I can do it well. So this is going to be the league to watch for this week is going to be this one. Skin of the teeth, but we did it. A win is a win. It doesn't matter how you get it. A win is a win, and that is the story. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I may actually change it up and actually do it, upload every single day of the week this week and see how that goes. Maybe let me know what you think. If you'd like to see it that way instead, a little bit more real time, maybe gives you an idea of who I'm watching for the next day or something like that. But anyways, hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you next time.